Hey guys, Lucas here again for another movie review, but it's a little bit different because, as promised, I will be doing my Iron Man 3 spoiler review that I promised you guys. And if you haven't seen Iron Man 3 yet, I'm going to be talking about everything, so please check out my spoiler-free review, which I'll put right here. And if you watch that, and then if you see Iron Man 3, come back and watch this, because I'm going to be talking about pretty much every big spoiler in this movie. I'm sure most of you, though, have heard the big spoiler, the things that's really dividing the fans that I did mention in my review, and that is the Mandarin, or lack of the Mandarin. From the trailers and the previews and just the marketing in general, they really advertised the main villain to be the Mandarin, played by Ben Kingsley, and they advertised Guy Pearce's character a little bit, and you could tell he was going to be like a slimy character, but you didn't really know what he was going to do or if he was all that integral to the plot. But it turns out that Aldrich Killian, Guy Pearce's character, is the main villain, and the Mandarin doesn't exist at all. He's just an actor. And this reveal is handled in a very comical and a little bit award show-like way. It's very, very comical. Ben Kingsley goes from being like this badass character, this kind of foppish, just drunk. And while I could see, while it's kind of just an amazing thing to think that they did all this marketing and hype it up, and then you get this completely opposite thing, which was kind of in a way cool. At the same time, I was disappointed, and it took the steam out of the movie for me. His voice, I really liked his Joker-like voice from the previews, and from the 10 minutes they show of him in the movie, I was super excited. He was very badass, very intimidating, and then you get to this, and it was just a big disappointment. And I thought the movie was building momentum at that point, and once it got to that, I felt it kind of lost steam and kind of took me out from the rest of the movie, and I didn't really get adjusted until about 20 minutes after or so. And I was fine with Aldrich Killian's character. I liked him as a villain. I was happy that Guy Pearce is getting big movie roles now, because I've always thought he was so underrated. But this kind of brings me to my next point, which is this whole extremist plot line that they have going here. I've not read the comics, and I know that this is a prominent part in many of the Iron Man comics. What extremist is, it's like this weird type of science or experiment that Guy Pearce and Rebecca Hall's character kind of come up with. And Rebecca Hall's character I thought was really useless in the movie. I forgot about her completely. It's this thing that was used to regenerate limbs, but instead what it does is that like turns your eyes all red, makes you all fiery, and if you like get exposed to too much of it, you like explode. And that's originally what you think these terrorist bombings by the Mandarin are, but it's really just these guys just exploding in the middle of nowhere. And while this movie does take place post-Avengers, and there's many Avengers references in this movie, I just felt like it was a little silly, especially when Guy Pearce started breathing fire, like when he was trying to kill Don Cheadle, Rhodey, and you see him breathe fire. I'm like, okay, what is this, Game of Thrones? It wasn't really a problem at all, really, but I just would have liked to see Pepper Potts in the movie more, because I do think, even though I'm not a big fan of Gwyneth Paltrow, I do like her in these movies, and I like the relationship that Tony Stark and her have, because she's the only person that really that Tony Stark kind of respects, or at least has a full-on conversation with, one person that he actually really does care about. So, I would have liked her to see more in the movie. She's in the beginning, and she's in the end. You think she dies, and obviously she didn't. Felt like that was another problem I had with it. Like, Tony Stark sees her fall into the fiery pit, and, you know, at first he's devastated for like 5 seconds, and then after that he's just right back fighting and kind of cracking jokes. I just felt like it had no emotional resonance. One, because it was predictable, you knew she was going to come back, and two, it's just like he was joking too much, so it really just didn't work on an emotional level for me. And then when she saved him at the end, I was fine with that. I was cool. I would have kind of liked to see Tony Stark take down the main villain, but I was fine with her, you know, saving him near the end there. Although Shane Black, of course, put in, you know, the fireworks at the end of that whole sequence, which I thought was definitely cheesy and did not need to be put in there. To be honest, I didn't really think about it until afterwards, but Guy Pearce's or Aldrich Killian's plan, to me, didn't make sense. It was really under-explained and just confusing. So he wants to program this extremist or get people on this extremist. I get that, and then But the whole deal with the president and wanting to kill the president and getting rid of putting the vice president in there, did they ever say why why was he a part of that? What was his goal? I didn't understand that at all. I just kind of went with it when I was with the movie because I was kind of distracted by everything else, and the whole Mandarin twist kind of had me all messed up just thinking about that. But afterwards, you're like, I don't understand what the goal of this guy is at all. I also want to talk about the ending. Two things. One, in the first two movies, especially the second one, he was always complaining about how the shrapnel was affecting his heart and it could potentially kill him. This movie, they don't talk about it at all until the end, and he gets it taken out in like 2 seconds. I'm like, well, if you could have could get it taken out like in 2 seconds, like nothing, then why was it such a big deal in the first two? And this one, they take it out, they rush over it, they take it out in like 5 seconds, and then he's just off doing his thing with Pepper Potts. I'm like, okay, well then why were you bitching about it so much? And then two, obviously, he's not Iron Man anymore, or he says he'll always be Iron Man, but he's not going to put on the suit anymore, which leaves us with the question, like, will Robert Downey Jr. return? Will Iron Man be in the Avengers? And I say definitely yes to both of those. I mean, one, Robert Downey Jr. is making so much money off these movies, he would be an idiot to say no. Two, he's like the most popular superhero in the Avengers, or just in the Marvel Universe right now in general, so he's definitely going to come back for Avengers 2. I just want to see how they reintroduce that character or bring him back. But, yeah, he's definitely going to come back. I know it seems like I'm really hating on this movie, but if you watch my review, I really don't. In that review, I was just talking about what I liked about it and what I disliked about it. This one, I was just kind of going into more in-depth about what I thought about it, what problems I had, and I could talk about it more in-depth now, especially with all the twists and stuff. But, yeah, I liked this movie, but I think some of the decisions they made, and it felt sloppy at points. I felt that the plot and the whole Extremis thing was just too silly and totally weird. But it's not a bad movie at all. Definitely a lot better than 2. Since this is the spoiler review, you guys may comment whatever you want. Tell me what you thought. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What were your problems with it? What did you like about it? Did you mind the twist at all? Please comment below. Subscribe. Check out my other Iron Man review, the spoiler-free review, and also I mentioned this in my last video, but check out my channel for music reviews and more. I'm going to be posting my first review on that sometime this week, so please subscribe to that. That will also be here, somewhere around here, up, down, left, right. I don't know, I'll put it somewhere, but please check that out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.